Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a beautiful Monday morning, the new start to the week and the day after the holiday. So of course, hope that you had a beautiful Easter. And of course, also happy new week as new week, new opportunities. And we got plenty to talk about with the new daily, new weekly, and new 3-day, I think all closing at the same time. But with that said, I actually want to have a massive shout out to that Martini guy as I teleportation into the live stream right over here for giving me that shout out on his video earlier this, I think it was posted yesterday. So thank you for that. And also thank you, Michael Barker. Really do appreciate that, man. Glad that content found you well. And of course, with that said, I'm not going to focus on the rest of that. Let's go on and into the charts right here, right now, as Bitcoin has given up technically the blue 377 exponential on the daily dollar time frame right over here. But here's the thing. I'm not too concerned with something like that just because overall weekend action, I don't put all that much weight on. Really, avoid trading during the weekend time to begin with, especially on a holiday weekend. And this weekend was typically notorious when I was in traditional land just because technically you only get Friday off, but people would take off Monday as well, and it'd become like a 4-day weekend instead of a 3-day weekend, just because, what can you really do on a 3-day weekend? No, you need 4 days. And of course, my point is that unlikely to see too much action over the past few days, so not really taking any major positions. We did get a couple of good scalps off yesterday night, or morning, or whenever I posted that last video. Yeah, I believe it was in the morning, early afternoon, whatever you want to call it. But basically, the Bitcoin is still protecting the yellow 21 exponential moving average on the 12-hour dollar time frame right over here. And this is kind of my more preliminary way of judging the lower to intermediate time frames. That as long as Bitcoin is above this area, I do use that as a guide. It has been guiding price action ever since we got the golden cross right over here on the 12-hour dollar time frame, the green 55 and the purple 200, as you see crossing the upside right over here, and ever since then just defended all along the way. So it's a guide and it works until it doesn't. And I know that saying probably doesn't make all that much sense if it's the first time hearing it, as it didn't for me when my mentor said it works until it doesn't. This is coming from somebody who had been doing this for 35 fucking plus years, telling me that and I'm like, wait, so you mean you don't know if it's gonna work for sure? Well, of course you don't know if it's gonna work for sure, but it works until it doesn't. And for right now, it's still working. We did get that test yesterday that we spoke about to 5,200, actually almost to the dot on BitMexico, I believe it was. Again, this is not something that I say to come off as arrogant or say I'm cool because we caught this. No, it's to show you that this works until it doesn't. And right now we are still defending actually all major moving averages on the 12-hour dollar time frame. So with that said, I would not, I do interpret this as an ascending triangle from the lower time frame perspective, which is the proper way to be looking at it. On any of the lower time frames. Now, the higher time frames, we can really get deep and down and dirty into that and suggest that there could be some more nefarious attempts at hand. But while we're on here on the lower time frames, does look constructive to me. And yes, an ascending triangle would imply more bullishly resolved break. I need to extend this blue box even further because remember this ascending triangle does have an apex in first second of May. So I've been saying this for a while that if this is while this thing has been hinting at a breakout to the upside, that was more importantly done on a weekend. And also of importance is that this is these triangles are likely to take a little bit more time. Usually see them when they're about 70 to 75% full when they actually break, which I'd say that we're actually kind of rapidly approaching right now. We're certainly more than 50% full. Are we 69% full? Maybe getting close. So but overall, Bitcoin really grinding this area out. And typically when I do see consolidations out of support, that would imply more bullish behavior. If I see consolidation at resistance, that implies more bullish behavior. So if I see consolidation at support, that typically implies bearish behavior. And right now we are consolidating right at resistance. So the lower timeframes I would say are bullish to me. We do see all lower timeframe also just pointed up right now. 3-hour Stokes up and erect. 2-hour Stokes obviously up and erect as well. Hourly Stokes up and erect. Actually all having fresh crosses at the same time as we do approach this resistance once again. So if you want to nail it down, I would still be sticking with around 53.20ish area is kind of the area that I've been saying. I am holding a position right now. I've actually reworked it a bit yesterday because I did take that scalp that we spoke about from like 53 down to 52. On my streamer account, I didn't get as good of a position. Oh, this is my options position. I'm actually covered with the 42.50 call strikes. Sold them for about $1,000. Actually, nice. They're actually bid at $1,000 right now. Sold those earlier, or sorry, no, 1,000, no, 10,050. No, 10,050, 1050 is what I'm trying to say. And what's up, Gaza? Good to meet you, man. Where my real positions are is over here on the, on the spot underline, which actually hold some longs on the June contracts and the perps, and I'm short the September. So I shorted 52.90, longed 52.58, and I'm still holding 39.30 long. And then I'm short the 10 contracts of the 42.50 strike calls for like 10.50. So that's like it's a price of like 5,300. So I basically get to lock in whatever you see here plus another 50 on top of that times the contracts. Anyways, overall, when it comes down to it, yeah, I will be taking that off. I will what I'll likely do is actually spread those calls. I won't get rid of the short calls. I'm actually cool with holding those till expiration later today. I do like that price, and I'd rather just actually spread them out if we do break above this area. So if we actually do break 53.20, do I want to add on spot? Do I want to buy some calls? I'll probably end up buying some calls just because this is one of the few times where I actually will be, I'm cool with buying some premium here, just because if we do break out above this area, the measure move on this ascending triangle would be pointing all the way up here towards 5,700-ish area, kind of the prior block territory that we saw on the drop down in November from 6,000 to 3,000. Okay, recording good, and mic is also working very good. All right, Jesus Christ, man, my God, that was so embarrassing last week. Anyways, so yeah, while we are here, throw in the volume profile. We do see some confluences with this next area right over here. Right, it's actually a little bit lower according to the volume profile, right around 56 to 57. Maybe if I zoom out a little bit more, it'll help. About the same, still 56. But overall, my point is, my point is devoid of that. If we do break above about 53, do you want to call it 53.20? Do you want to call it 53.15? Really, what I'm looking for is something very specific. I want to see a breakage of this area right over here, the blue box territory, on good volume. I want to see a massive spike up in volume, similar to what we got at the beginning of what got us into this more aggressive, into this consolidation in early April right over here. So if we, kind of break this trend line on it, that would start to look a lot more legitimate for an actual breakout. In fact, if we can bring up and consult with some of our other tools, let's get on the historical vault. Whoops, can I bring that up? Yeah, I can bring that up. That's awesome. Let me get on over here. No, it's not invite only, is it? Let's see. Oh, and I can't spell volatility. Volatility. Percentile. And by the way, if you are in the technical analysis program, I actually just posted a new video in there. So make sure to check it out. It's actually on this indicator right over here, which is quite useful during these times. So let me get off the volume profile, and we're going to be looking at the historical volatility percentile. And I will use something like this to kind of judge if a breakout's going to be legitimate or not. If we see this jump up and get, back up to the 1 marker, that's where we actually do get our breakouts. Just like you saw right over here. In this formation, when we broke out of 4,000 or 4,100-ish area, this thing got sky fucking high, signaling the red all the way through. Well, now it's come back down, and if we were to actually boost above this area right over here and signal red once again, that would be my sort of that would be my extra confirmation tool for an actual breakout. Which I'm typically not a breakout trader. I don't particularly like trading breakouts, and I'm not. It's not really consistent with my strategy. I very rarely actually even participate. It just so happens that the last few ones I have, just because with my sort of strategy with trading horizontal supported resistance, it was one of those times where I just ended up holding it. So yeah, we see the same thing on the hourly right over here. It is dying down. It is telling us that this consolidation is getting more and more mature, which means that it's more and more likely to break out, as you'd imagine, just from looking at and judging the apex of this triangle, which again would be coming in at basically at the end of the week, right? No, not the end of the week, but in about what is it, like 9 days? 8 days? No, sorry, 8 days. We're 422 right now. Jesus Christ, and 22.4 for all of you Europeans out there. Jesus, that really fucking confuses the shit out of me. Holy fuck. My God, man, so awful when I'm trying to read dates around here. As I've been living in Finland for the past year, and it's just like it gets weird. I will never learn that one. Also, Celsius. How the fuck do you read that? Jesus, man. Anyways, so if we do kind of see this area taken out, that's what I'm looking for to kind of confirm that, as well as a nice spike up in volume and at least a 3-hour total closing above this area right over here, preferably above this high. But if I see all those things influence with each other, yes, I'll be targeting a move somewhere around 5,700. Give or take a few bucks. It doesn't need to be perfect, but in that range is kind of where I'm suggesting. Again, if I am just looking at the lower time frames, this would be considered more bullish. I mean, even just going over to the medium time frames, see what these guys are looking like. Let's get this off right now. And let's see, we got 6 hour Stokes actually still coming down. What about the 8 hours? 8 hours coming down as well. So all the medium time frames are down, but these ones have not actually been getting price action that well. 12 hour has, and 12 hour is technically down right now as well. However, daily is going to be crossing up, and it's a fresh cross up. And here's the thing, we are having a fresh cross up right as we approach, once again, a major resistance. So it's the lower time frames in confluence with the higher time frames. The medium time frames are kind of cut out, but they have not been getting the price action well. You know, it's funny. The time frame that's getting the price action best with the Stokes is actually the hourly with my settings, and we just had another cross up. Now, does that mean that we're going to go to fucking $20,000 price per Bitcoin from here? No, it's an hourly, so Jesus. You can fit 24 hourly dildos into one daily time frame. I don't need to tell you that. You already knew that. I'm just telling myself because sometimes I forget. You can have a lot of variabilities in this, so that's why when those match up, it typically provides a nice trade. When we're right at a major resistance, I would say that is that would be a more positive sign. Now, here's the thing. I am almost split onto kind of what I'm looking at right here. As I'm pretty much neutral on my positions. To kind of explain, sorry, I should have actually explained that when I'm short those option contracts, it's basically like when you're short that fucking deep in the money, it's like shorting stock. It's the same thing. Unless we go back below 42.50, then I'll be exposed long, and that'll be really bad. But I think I'll be okay by end of week. Weirder things have happened for sure, but I'll also have plenty of time to adjust if that would happen as well. Anyways, so with that said, that's what the bulls have. Bulls are looking at that. They are seeing they're also looking at a golden cross, but they're seeing, more importantly, an ascending triangle. They are seeing all of our oscillators start to turn around, and basically just one massive consolidation right at a major resistance, which, if it breaks up, that's what I'd be looking towards. 57, the Super Bowl is going to be looking into the 6,000s, and the more conservative guys will probably look at around 56, something like that. When a lot of people are thinking the same thing, you either get one of two situations happen. You either get that area front ran, which would imply probably an area around 56, or you get pushed above. So that would probably align for a move into the deeper 6,000s. So again, even if we do break up to the upside, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I actually would be looking to be a seller regardless. And the reason why I say that is because on our higher time frames, like our 3-day, I've found with my Jewel, with the Jewels, Jesus Christ, that sounds so silly. But I found with the Jewel that this indicator has never been wrong in the history of Bitcoin for calling major tops and major bottoms for that matter. Calling our 2014, 2015 bottom right over here, calling our 2019 bottom so far right over here. Although still a little bit in question. I'll kind of avoid that topic and say, hey, if you want my thoughts on bottom analysis, check out the video that I posted yesterday in the long-term analysis playlist, as that'll go into much more detail on that. And this video, I don't want to do another hour on those facts because I don't have anything new to present anyways. But this also gets the tops pretty damn well as well. And what I'm looking for in a top on the 3-day total time frame is that we see the red flash in the background and we see the light blue oscillator get into the more critical zone. And there are three components of this kind of judge when the time is to take a short as far as this goes. But let's just kind of backtest it first. We see this area right over here calling the $20,000 high pretty much perfectly. Again, it signals red for a little bit of time. So we'll get into like how to actually time this in a little bit. But 70% down move off that, not bad. Then we have this move right over here. We have the move all the way from 3,000 down to 2,000. So that's a 32% move, not bad. Then we have this move right over here. Another 34% move, not bad. Then we have this move right over here, another 35% move, not bad. Then we have this one. This is like the only one-off one. Right here, I believe it is. Yeah, it's this guy right here, which we actually do have a little bit of down to be played out. But if I actually do go through the explanation on how to use this, you'd know that this is not, this would have not been a signal to begin with. But even with it not being a great one, just by the nature of it kind of signaling red, we did have like almost 10% move down. Time before that was right over here, top to bottom, about a 40% move down, move right over here, top to bottom. Another 40% move down. Here's a bottom in 2015, top in 2014, Probably another 70 if I do guess off the top of my head. Nope, 68, not bad. And right over here, having another move down. Jesus Christ, where's that wick? Right over here, about 75%. And of course, this last one right over here for another 58.5%. So my point is that anytime that this does signal red, it is a major warning signal. Now, as we just discussed, it can signal red for quite some time. And that is the contingency with this. So there's 3 moving parts to this. And I put more weight on this right now than I do on the MBT signal because this is my indicator. This is the one that I basically made. Now, I did not program this, to be very clear. I had a genius program this, not myself, who spends his life's energy learning programming, but actually making this indicator. Yes, I feel like I understand it a lot more than the MBT signal, which is a great indicator. Don't get me wrong, but and we can show confluences between this more importantly. But if I'm going to go off some of that, I'd rather be able to verify, right? Verify, don't trust, or whatever the fuck the saying is. So there's 3 moving parts kind of judging the next big short for this, and the first is I want to see us signal red in the background, which we see right over here. Then the second one is I want to see the slope of the light blue oscillator get I want to see the light blue oscillator get above the critical zone right here, above this 80 marker, and then I want to see the slope of the light blue oscillator get negative, and also preferably get back down below this critical zone right over here. So about 3 to 4 moving parts depending upon how conservative you are. But once we actually see the turnaround and the slope get negative in this more critical zone with the red in the background, that is when the major bearish momentum begins. Basically timing the top at 19,666. I think perfectly. Let's actually confirm this. I'd say that it's technically your signal would have been right here on the 15th of December, but I would say that I would have taken the trade right here. So I would have not gotten the top on this one. I would have gotten this dildo right over here. Yeah, 18th of December. Anyways, what are we doing right now? Are we, do we have those things in place? Do we have red in the background? Yes. Are we above the critical zone? Yes. Or do we have a negative slope? No, we do not. And as you can see, the last few times that we have gone above this area, the oscillator really spends some time getting deep into it, like getting way up actually into the 90 marker. And right now we're around the 81.5. So it's in the past typically does get higher. So that is why I want to be a little bit more lenient, and why actually, if I'm just giving my straight up opinion, I actually do think that Bitcoin probably does break it to the upside here at around 57. Like I said, we got the move that we were looking for yesterday. We got the retest of the 5200-ish level. It was bought up pretty damn well, and we're above all major moving averages on this time frame. Let's also go check out CMEs over here, which CMEs had a pretty damn good close on Thursday. The weekly closed strong as well, and we actually saw that we saw the play that we were talking about yesterday as well, where CMEs opened today up, or sorry, where did they open? Yeah, so CMEs opened down. Right, so they opened down, then they rallied up to the gap. The gap fill was sold at 53.20. We come all the way back down to 52.50. So, almost an $80 play, a nice scalp, and I think that play is over. So for all the people who's been fucking asking me about this, there's your example. There's your example of how that works. It's not to hodl for the rest of your life. More often than not, it's just for a little bit of a scalp play. I myself was asleep during this, so I didn't take the trade, but several people did, and congratulations to you, man. Congratulations to you. That was a very fast play, and hey, there you go. Nice little what, like $80 move from 53.20 to 52.50. $70. So fair enough. All right, good enough is good enough. Again, nice little scalp in the early morning hours. We do see lower time frame oscillators on CMEs working their way up. Hourly stokes look like they want to cross the upside, and overall looking constructive here. Daily closed. Daily's gonna have a chance to both open and close above the 200 simple. In fact, did we already do that last time? We did. Yes. Okay. So we did. That's already been marked off. Yeah. I'd be looking at this to be support. If we were to come back down, 5200 would be the major support. If 5200 does break, then that would also be the 12-hour 21 exponential as we looked at on spot charts, and we'd likely have a much further retracement down to the 4900-ish level and beyond after that to 45 and probably 42. But for right now, with Bitcoin maintaining above this level and actually opening and closing above this level, I'd say that that's a signal of strength. Not only that, but we have daily stokes on CMEs crossing back up as well. And look at this, they are in kind of a nice constructive formation right over here, actually maintaining above the critical zone, which I do like. So keep that in mind as Bitcoin Bitcoin is being resilient and does offer up the potential for another new run. I suppose that there still is this resistance to deal with in the way at around 53.40ish area right over here, the purple 200 exponential on the daily, which is also going to be our prior high of Bitcoin on that last run on spot charts. So let me just take a sip of this water because I'm fucking thirsty, man. There we go. Oh man, there we go. So yeah, as far as CMEs are concerned, what do we have to look at? What's the time frame that I made this chart on? Yeah, it's a 4 hour. Yeah, if the 4 hour can break above about, 53.35 on volume, I would be looking for this to take another leg. You can see that, the volume signature on this is suggesting that we will be getting a move relatively soon. So, hey, check that out. And this would actually suggest that it's happening sooner rather than later. Let's go back on to spot charts. Right on over here, and let's talk a little bit more about the higher time frames, just because while I am presenting some more bullish things, let me make it very, very clear that if I do see that 3-day jewel start to turn down, I would get immediately bearish, looking for a major massive move. Remember, all of those measured moves that we were kind of looking at were around 30% at the 10% on one of the outliers, although I'd suggest that is not kind of what we're not what we're going on. If you get rid of that, it's like 30% minimum, or over 30% minimum. If we were to drop 30% from here, now I'll put us all the way back at around 3,700-ish area, which is going to be kind of right around the 200 simple moving average on the weekly, which is my trigger for getting extremely bearish, looking for new lows. If we break the 200 simple on the weekly, I take trades looking for new lows. If we break the 200 exponential on the weekly, I start talking about potential new lows once again. But as you can see, if we were to put ourselves back down around that, 3,700-ish level, it'd actually be quite, it'd be considered returning back to the lows, although our current low is around 3,100, just like over here. Bitcoin, after Bitcoin kind of putting its major spike down, wait, that doesn't look right. Never return within about 40% of the lows. I mean, it'd still be a little bit off center, so I don't think that there's really something to say about that right over there. But overall, my point is that, hey, if Bitcoin were to drop, 30% from here, that's kind of where we'd be looking at. If Bitcoin were to take another leg up towards that 50, let's just say 50, because it's easier for me to grab right here, and we take another 35% drop, that would suggest, right around 38.50. So it doesn't change it all that much, but overall, I would be more cautious, and this is really the time to be cautious as we see all of these oscillators get very high, right? We see our daily Stochs getting, kind of maintaining the more bullish control zone, which is fine, but we see the daily RSI, which is actually a little bit struggling right now. The point is that because the RSI got so high on the last run, on the last $1,500 rally from like 4,000 to 55, it's going to be very easy to create divergence if Bitcoin were to get another, move up. So if we do start creating higher highs, I'd still be looking for a top, even though everyone's going to be talking about a golden cross happening very soon, which it will be happening pretty damn soon. The longer that Bitcoin maintains above 5,000, it'll be happening, week and a half, maybe week and a half, I'd say. Well, I really don't like trading against those. I will say that, but this is not an example of what a good cross looks like, to be fair. I really want to see price action a lot closer to the actual cross, and this is the green 55 and the purple 200. These are exponentials. I know a lot of people are looking at the simples. We can look at that as well, just very briefly, although I don't care about the simples. People who look at Investopedia and read the dictionary definition, that's great, but is that real trading? No, and we can actually show, and this is actually going to be happening in a few days. But hey, the last time that we actually had this cross even being hinted at was right over here in 2014, 2015. Well, price action was very far away for that cross as well, and look what happened. Bitcoin dumped. Bitcoin dumped how much? Oh, 39%. That sounds familiar. That sounds real fucking familiar, doesn't it? So again, a lot of people are, the less educated people are looking at something like this because it's very easy to notice, and it's true. It does work. It certainly does work. Don't get me wrong. But there's very specific things to be looking for, and this is not it. This is not what I look for on a traditional golden cross to actually be played out. This is the kind that are usually produced to create liquidity for short plays, as big market movers know that everyone's looking at something like this. So when everyone's looking at something like this, well, now you have a lot of fish to create liquidity from, and if they're going to be getting super bullish, well, now you have people to actually buy your sells, as for every buyer there has to be a seller, right? So again, with price action very far away from the cross like this, I do not like it, and I'd say that this is high probability of fail, most likely. But does that mean that we can't get another move up in the more interim time? No, we certainly can. We very much can. It's extremely possible that we do. My point is that I'd be looking to be a seller either which way. That's my point. So, if Bitcoin and how would I kind of judge if this one's going to be falling apart? I'd be judging it by the 12-hour actually. That 12-hour 21 exponential as we put on right over here. Let me just get off the 50. Go back on the 10. There we go. The 12-hour 21 exponential, this yellow moving average right here, if we break that, I would say that is your initial warning signal, and then my full-on confirmation for warning signal would be the 3-day jewel starting to have a negative slope once again. So remember, this is at 5150. Yes, 5150. And if we break that, my first target would be about 4850, 4900, then 4500, and then 42. And I do think that we'd hit all of those and, technically more probably. So keep that in mind. I would say frosty, and that's why all my positions are hedged right now. And I can very easily put on a spread and capture whichever move that I like. So let's get on over to the 2-day, right? The 2-day, which is still stuck below the purple 200 exponential moving average. So it's only on the daily where we actually took out the 377, but that was a very short time and it was on a weekend. So I don't put any weight on that, or I put very little weight on that, if any. And volume on this move very lackluster. So it was never going to be a break. 2-day Stokes are technically crossed down right now, and we will be getting another tick on this at 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. And look at these, the 2-day Stokes are in this more critical range right over here, which has called some pretty nasty tops for the past year. Your $20,000, your 20,000 top in December 2017, 12,000 top in February, 10,000 top in May, 8,400 top in August. And then once again, we're in this range, although being resilient. We do see if Bitcoin were to take a leg up, we do have the 200 simple sitting right around about 5850, 5900. So another area of interest if Bitcoin were to get around there. We do see that the 2-day jewel is actually signaling some down as well, although this one is less this one is less accurate, I'd say, than the 3-day. It is decent, it is good, it has produced good results in the past, but it's not as accurate as the 3-day. The 3-day is significantly more accurate. So yeah, speaking of the 3-day, let's go on over here. 3-day Stokes getting really fucking high. Same sort of area, that's called a lot of major tops. And again, just another thing saying, hey, be cautious here. Also, on top of this, the 3-day RSI will be creating bearish divergence if Bitcoin fails to get, if Bitcoin really fails to break the 200 exponential moving average soon. And what's up, Arden Sith, good to meet you, man. And the 200 exponential, of course, staring us right in the face. So major resistance is coming around this area. Now, there is a contingency upon this, as we do have the yellow 21 exponential and the green 55 exponential having a bullish cross the upside, which the last time that we had that was, way over here somewhere in November 2015 at around $350. Tree Fitty taking it all the way to $20,000. So not bad. My point is that whether you're bullish or bearish, I'd be very cautious right here. And realistically, the next big trade for me would be looking for a trade to the downside. It's just a question of, do we top out here or do we top out a little bit higher? Which, I know what I'm looking for. If the 12-hour 21 breaks, I'd say that this is more than likely going to be the area. If the 3-day jewel turns down, this is extremely likely to be the area. And let's go on now to the daily MVT, which the MVT signal has also been something that I've been keeping a quick eye on, as it is a fundamental indicator. It is the network value divided by the daily transaction value, and this one is once again flirting upon this orange moving average right over here, which I'm actually going to take away and put on. Let's actually put on a 16. There we go, a little bit lower. I just wanted to be a little bit more precise and not fake out as much. But overall, just kind of back to this again. If you want the full explanation, go on to the playlist titled Long-Term Analysis. But when this thing signals red, it calls all the major tops and all the major bottoms in Bitcoin's history perfectly. Just back testing it right here. Of course, I do know that Willy Woo came out and said that he has not verified this himself, but I'd implore you to go check them out yourself. Again, this, it's if you look at his charts on his website and you look at this right here and you compare them 1-to-1, they are, for all intents and purposes, the same. But again, this is why this is why I think that it takes a backseat to the jewel, at least for myself, because I can verify that personally. Okay, cool. So yeah, when it does signal red and it does get below the orange moving average, that's when some major massive downwards moves seem to happen, and actually time those moves, because this thing can be red for quite some time. It can be red for weeks at a time, which, if you just hit the short button right here, that's a terrible fucking signal. I mean, you would have shorted 11 $11,500, and this thing's going all the way to $20,000 in literally just a fucking week, which is insane. That is insanity. And it doesn't cross the orange moving average until this point right over here when it's around $19,220. Then I need to see a few more other things to be fully convictive of a nice move to the downside as I check what the fuck is going on. There we go. Alrighty, Jesus, man. And then I want to see a bunch of other things to kind of be fully convicted of a move to the downside in no particular order, but I need to see them all. And the Stokes are going to be a more preliminary signal. Of course, I want to see them crossing down and getting back below the critical zone right over here. That happens right over here at around 19,150 the next day. Then I want to see the daily RSI get below this exponential right here. Yes, we do have bearish divergence. You don't need that, though, for the signal to be okay. And that happens right over here at around 17,000, so a little bit later. And then, of course, the daily jewel getting into the more critical zone and reversing the slope down, which happens actually at 19,220 220 as well. So all those things need to happen in confluence with each other. Otherwise, I don't really expect like a major move down. And right now, the first two things are, well, in danger. We are red, so that's tick one. Are we below the orange moving average right here? No, we're not. So with that said, I'd still be a little bit, cautious of it. It is not signaled to move just yet. Just like the 3-day jewel has not signaled either, but it's getting close. It's getting really fucking close, which is why I'd be very, very cautious right now. And that's really my message is, hey, Bitcoin's been stuck in this range for the past, I think, working on 4 weeks now. Let me get rid of this. Working on 4 weeks, which actually does look constructive. And we did actually regain the 50 exponential moving average. And we are seeing these moving averages. They're not converging. They're not divergent. They're pretty much consistent, maybe a little bit of convergence, but regardless, the way that I look at the way that I look at the weekly is we actually did have a pretty good close, because not only did we regain the 50 exponential moving average, but also if you look at the top Trollinger bands, we have closed all of the last 3 Trollinger bands above the upper Trollinger band, which would typically imply some more attenuations. And the top Trollinger band now coming in around 53.11. So Bitcoin will need to make some higher highs here in order to kind of maintain that. If Bitcoin does close this next weekly below 5,300, then I'd start looking for, a big retracement, most likely, very likely down to 45. So this week is very important. Bulls need this move up. If bulls can even just take out the prior high at around 53.50ish area, on Bitstamp, 53.62 actually, then yes, I would be, then that would imply some more continuations up to our next resistance, which is going to be somewhere right around here, actually 5,800. So again, somewhere anywhere in that range, 57, 58 is kind of where I'm looking towards. Okay, cool. What else do we have to look at? Yeah, weekly Stokes getting way up there. Some areas that we haven't seen since January 2018. Weekly Jewel, what is it telling us? Not really, not too much to go off of here. Weekly RSI, getting kind of deeper into the neutral zone. Again, not too much to say about it, but overall, if Bitcoin were to turn down, I look for a move down to the yellow 20 exponential on the weekly, which is actually 4,600 now. 46, not 45. So I do apologize about it. It's obviously changed. We got a new tick, so it's going to be 46 if we were to turn down. But for right now, it does to me look like we're going to give a try higher first. That'll be my initial disposition. But again, this is, understand the way that I'm trading this. I'm either going to be, I'll add some options. I'll do a call spread if we do take out that 5,300ish level. I'm looking for a target of like 57, maybe 58. And then I'll be looking to be a seller, likely somewhere right around there. Or if Bitcoin does take out the 5,200 level to the downside, or wherever the 21 exponential is on the 12 hour, it's 5160. No, 5150. If we take that out to the downside, then I'd probably take that as a signal that we're going to turn down from here and likely hit those lower targets that we spoke about. So that's kind of what I have my eyes on right now. And basically what I'm thinking and how I'll be reacting to these changes in price action. Until any of those things happen, I don't really have any changes to make to my positions. I kind of like where I'm at right now. It gives me a lot of variabilities with having spot positions on all three different expiration. Well, the perps don't really have an expiration, but all the different products, and then also the options as well. Hey, what's up, Stephen King? Stephen King, I love your books, man. Hey, welcome, man. Good to meet you. So cool. Okay, we spoke about CMEs. We spoke about GBT. Well, do we need to speak about GBTC? GBTC, there's not really anything new to be aware of. Everything that we said last week is still pertinent. I would say that last week did have a decent close on Thursday. It's going to be very insightful to see if GBTC opens up or down to start the week. I'm going to guess that it probably opens up, and we probably do make another run higher. All right, so let's talk about the other top shitcoins, huh? Let's talk about Mr. Buteau really quick. 170, 171. Yes, so we did call this this comeback. And again, I feel like when I say that, it sounds arrogant. That's not my intention. My intention is so that you can do this for yourself. And yes, we did get the move back down to around what was it, 169. Nice. Now what happens? Well, we kind of are sitting on support. We do see that daily Stokes are up. We see that daily RSI is generally neutral. Daily Jewel. Could see that we do have a nice trend line that we're walking up right now, kind of putting in its own formation, right? Something like this. But no, we kind of are coming up to resistance as well. I don't have a strong opinion on this one. Mr. Buteau is not, is right at resistance right here. That's what makes it difficult. What about the weekly? How did the weekly close? Weekly closed okay. No, I'd be looking for continuation on Mr. Buteau. I'd be looking for continuation or try higher first before resistance right around 182. What about Mrs. Litecoin? Mrs. Litecoin wants to break down. Mrs. Litecoin lost to 21 yesterday. Yeah, on both Stamp and GDAX. Next support right around here, 70 and a third. Let's see, where does that come back from? Yeah. Right over, actually horizontal, say a little bit, maybe a little bit lower, right around here, right around 68 and a half. Yeah, anywhere from 68 and a half to about 70 and a half. It's kind of where we're looking towards. Does look to me like it wants to test a little bit lower. But then again, Mrs. Litecoin was so strong leading this market to the upside that can she come down a little bit? Well, absolutely. Mrs. Litecoin does not, I don't really have a problem with Mrs. Litecoin until she actually starts breaking about $48 and a half dollars. From like a long-term perspective, I'd say that Mrs. Litecoin's, we do have the golden cross, but we did lose at 21. So I do think that we come further down here. I'd be looking for a bounce around this area right over here. Let's go check out Cardano. Cardano getting absolutely shreked. It's all over now, baby. Down to our 1400 support. I do think that this thing tries to bounce here, but ultimately I do think that it goes lower. Not good. Weekly Stokes crossing down. Just another lower high is what it is. Just another lower high over the last, ever since the inception of it. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And some massive fucking hidden bearish divergence now as well to be battling with. So not a good sign, man. Not a good sign. Now, at the very least, we did not close below these moving averages on the weekly yesterday, but to me, that this looks like it does want to come down lower over time to around 1200 most likely. What's up, Fergus? Fergus, good to meet you, my friend. Realistically, I would be looking for a bounce in this area first and foremost, but this thing's been so weak. I mean, just look at this is ugly as fuck price action. But it's my third generation blockchain. It's gonna bounce. It's like I would be looking for a bounce. To be fair, do we have any sort of bullish divergence anywhere? Yeah, we do have a little. Do we even have it on the 4 hour? A little bit. The thing is that if Bitcoin's gonna take a leg up here, does this thing follow? Probably a little bit. If it were to pop back up, I'd be looking for resistance right around 1450-ish area. Let's see. What about BNB? Looks like we found our top so far. Did make a new high. But I do think that this one does come down a little bit more towards $21.50 and test this support. Let's put on the horizontals. Oh no, we came down perfectly to the $22.50 region right over here. Not bad. Actually about five nickel lower, but that's okay. I do think that this one does consolidate a little bit lower though. This thing's been on a fucking ride for a while. Weekly close very strong, so I'm not bearish on this, to be clear. Well, do I think that this one comes lower? The weekly looks very good. The weekly looks very fucking. If the weekly came down to about $20.50, that'd be a major buy to me. Is this a 20? No, this is 21.5. This would be 20.5 right here. Huh? Interesting. Yeah, I'd be a little bit more careful with it. If it does pull back, it's not a death sentence. It does have one of the strongest charts, but yeah, $20.50 would be a little bit more enticing. Zcash wants down somewhere down around $64. I think that we're going to see that relatively soon. Again, just another lower high right over here. Bcash. Oh, getting down towards the next target right over here. Beautiful. Down around, 279.5. Nice. And I do think that this one probably comes lower. Yeah, weekly can come all the way down to 250. Let's see though. Again, if Bitcoin rallies here, so will this thing. So will this thing. And if Bitcoin rallies, then this thing's gonna rally back up to 313. That's the problem. This one does look bearish to me, but I would have a little bit more of an artist eye, and I'd put more just with any alt. I put more weight on Bitcoin's movement. They're likely to fall, not lead. Tron Cash, what's Tron Cash doing? Absolutely smashed through our 2.5 cent support right over here. I do think that this one comes lower over time towards 2.3 cents down here. But for now, probably tries to play out a little bit of a bounce, probably bounces back up to 2.56, maybe a little bit higher towards 2.6 if it really wants to give it a go, but ultimately lower. Neocash hit our 10, what was it, 10 and a quarter target. Nice, not bad. I think this one probably tries to pop back up to $11, and we'll take it from there. But for now, I would be looking for a bounce here. What about the weekly? Yeah, if the weekly bounced back up to 11 and a quarter, I'd be a seller right there. I don't like the way that the weekly looks. I think that the weekly the weekly wants to come down further lower, but lower time frames want to pop up first. So we also do see weekly Stokes cross into the downside. EOS Cash, same thing. If it came back up to $5.50, I'd be a seller, and and ultimately I'd be looking for a move back down to 460. What happens first? Yeah, I think that we probably try to bounce it, maybe 540, 550, and then ultimately lower, back down to this area, right around 460, about 465. Ripple Cash, Ripple extremely weak. Oh my God, hitting our did it hit our 31 cent target? Yeah, did. Not bad. Wow. Well, fucking atrocious, man. Again, I don't short anything like Mr. Ripple's nipples just because you never I've seen it do some weird things, but as far as charting formations go, very ugly. Once again, holding a very strong support. Needs to hold it though. If it does lose 31 cents, coming down to 28 and a half, and 28 and a half cent is absolutely critical. If 28 and a half cent fails, we're coming down all the way to 25, 24 and a half cent. Perhaps even lower than that. Very, 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 very important area for Mr. Ripple's nipples to hold. If he fails this area, it's going to have a lot more people with hashtag XRP at the end of their name telling you about how great it is. Again, that sounds like I'm some sort of like XRP hater. I'm not. I'm actually not. I actually like to take the contrarian view because there's so many people that just hate XRP because so many people love XRP that I kind of want to. It almost makes me want to like XRP, but I can't like a chart like this. It's an ugly as fuck chart. But again, this one does get some news related bullshit from time to time with Brad Garlick. How he gets on the CNBCs and that can talk some stuff up. They do very good marketing, so that's kind of why I think that they can pull some of that shit off. But overall, as far as technical analysis goes, very bad. But like I said, I don't short anything like this. What about the Bitcoin pairing? Very weak as well, but on major supports, I would be looking for a bounce here. Major bullish divergence coming off the lows. I do think that the Bitcoin pairing does bounce back up. If it got back up to about 66, I'd probably be a seller right there. What about the week? Yeah, weekly's bad. I mean, weekly support's all the way down here, man. All the way down at 51.50. Jesus Christ. But short term, I do think that it tries to bounce. Monero Cash, what's Monero Cash doing? Monero Cash looks to me like it actually wants to take a leg up here. Looks a little bit, well, the daily doesn't, the weekly does, but the daily does not. Daily wants to come back down to 66 and a quarter. Sorry, maybe even lower than that, 65. Yeah, probably 65. If we're bullish, we won't go below 66 and a half. If we are a little bit more bearish, we'll go down to 64. We'll go down to 65. Weekly looks okay to me though. I could go both ways on the weekly. Daily does want to come down. It's a question of how far does it want to come down. If this thing can break above 70, 90, then I would be looking for the next move up towards here at around 82 and a half. But for right now, on the week, again, gonna follow the rest of the market. What about Stellar Cash? Coming down to our next level beautifully at 275. I do think that this one comes down a little bit more towards. I guess that support came up. Yeah, so we actually already get to kind of tap it a little bit lower. I do think that it comes down further though. Overall, I do think that it comes down further. Probably going to follow Mr. Ripple's nipples. Here's no bullish divergence. You don't want a daily here. 4 hour wants to pop up. 4 hour does want to pop up. I'd be targeting about 11 and a half cents. So very low time frames. Probably do have a little bit of up to play out. But overall weak. Yeah, 11 and a half cents. If it got there, I'd probably be a seller. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that gets pretty much everything that I want to speak about. I am absolutely tired AF once again, but I did take some melatonin, so I got more sleep last night, so I'm happy about that. But man, it makes me feel a little bit groggy. Does anyone else feel like that? If you've taken melatonin, please let me know. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. As far as Mr. Bitcoin goes, again, I'll just kind of wrap it up with this. Actually, very simple. Bitcoin, I am, as far as charting formations go, I would be a little bit more bullish here. However, if Bitcoin does break 5,200 to the downside, I would be looking for a move further down. And I would consider that the initial warning signal of an actual breakdown, probably going to have lead on and carry on over into, into the 3-day jewel and also the MVT signal signaling major shorts, which would imply extremely low targets. 4,500 becomes extremely likely at that point. 4,200 becomes extremely likely, and then down into 38, 30, 37 becomes likely. But for right now, I would be going with the more bullish interpretation just on the lower time frames. As long as we're kind of shuffling our way right around here. Keep your eyes on this area right over here, blue box territory, 53.20. We break up above there on good volume, targeting much higher. So I think it's going to do it for right now. Hope this one finds you well. I'll be back on later with some more live stream action, hoping that I don't take a nap in between. But if I do, I'll be up anyways. So all good, and look forward to seeing you there. Want to wish you well, and take care.